Told him I would only do it once. Forgot to text Grant Hall last week. Well, I texted the Hall of Fame sports writer and sportscaster this morning and let him know we're not taking it for granted today. Grant, here you are. You're on the Lewis Automotive Hotline. You are not being taken granted for. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Phil.
Good. Hey, how about them Pirates over the Cardinals yesterday? All you need for Paul Skeens apparently is one run of support. Yeah, right, because they're basically giving him about one run of support all year. Pirates have gotten a little bit better in the last bout, well, ever since they fired the skipper.
Yeah, I've got some interesting stats for you. I think in 40 starts, he has 18 wins. He's got 4 this year, 6 straight starts without a win, but yet his ERA is very good, around 2, right? I think it's a little bit under 2 against the Cardinals, but he's 0-4 against the Cardinals. And last night, he went 88 pitches, 5 innings. Hope it didn't wear him out. Palante went 94 pitches and 7 innings, giving up 1 hit, and then they got a run and beat the Cardinals 1-0. So I was highly irritated last night after that game,
That's funny. That's funny. You should be irritated if the Pirates beat your team, but they're getting a little bit better. I brought this up yesterday.
They're getting ready to play here in a minute, I think, aren't they? I think Sonny Gray goes for the Cardinals today, so maybe the Cardinals can salvage one game against them.
Ooh, nothing like a little day baseball when it's 95 degrees in St. Louis. At least they're not playing on that artificial turf. You remember, I will never forget watching Pirates-Cardinals games in the mid to late 80s at Old Busch Stadium, and they would put, during a day game, they put the camera on the top of the stairwell and let you see the heat waves coming up off the AstroTurf. I think I read once, I forget which guy it was, but it was one of the speedsters for the Cardinals, maybe McGee or Coleman. He said that the plastic on his cleats melted one time at Busch Stadium.
It was like 130 or something like that, 130 degrees on the turf. One time, I remember Steve Caldwell and I went to a game. We were going to interview Johnny Ray, who was playing for the Pirates in St. Louis then, and Terry Kennedy, the Cardinal catcher, walked out there, felt the humidity and the heat, and just walk back inside the dugout. It's like no human being can be outside today.
No, don't be one of those. Not be one of those days. Hey, I was listening to the Morning Rush today. Folks are already, they're already sending in who they want the next coach to be for Arkansas football, and here it is, July 2nd. But this does feel like, this does feel like a year where you've got to take a step forward. I don't know how big of a step forward you got to take. It's just that the step you'd have to take would come with a really tall step because of the schedule you're facing. It's and Arkansas football's been in that position where, the bottom hasn't fallen out under Sam Pittman, but you still haven't gotten back to that level where you were in his second year. So it's a tough position, I think, for this football team to be in, where you want 7 wins. You kind of feel like you need 7 regular season wins this year. I wonder if 6-6 will be enough.
Wally Hall wrote today that Sam is 30-31 or something like that, and that there wasn't any particular pressure on him. I may be misstating what he wrote, but as you say, you can hear sort of different things around. I think the games against Arkansas State and Memphis are pretty critical early in the schedule, because you really need to win those. And then, Notre Dame, I don't know what to make of the 11 o'clock starting time against Notre Dame and how that's going to affect things. I know Arkansas is going to try to do some things on Friday night to get the fans going. And that's probably not the Notre Dame will be favored, right? They'll be favored to win the game. But I do think the start of this season is really important. And then, there are some games in Fayetteville that look fairly winnable, like Mississippi State, maybe like Auburn, depending on how you're doing at that time. So I don't know. But, you already have scenarios where people are talking about what happens if they start 2-3, for example.
Is there an area on the team that you're most concerned with? We've talked so much about hoping and expecting that the offensive line will be better, and I expect that they will be better. I'm a little concerned about what the other side of the line of scrimmage looks like on the defensive line for Arkansas. And I like Cam Ball, and I like some of the pieces that are coming back, but losing Landon Jackson, who is probably your best defender overall last year, and that's just really tough to replace.
Yeah, that might be it, Phil. I mean, in the SEC especially, it just feels like the really good teams have stick-out defensive linemen, and they have pluses there. And Arkansas, that's kind of been a thing for several years, really. I think the offensive line, Sam thinks there are about eight guys that can play there, and that's probably we've talked about this before. Maybe 3, 4, 5 more than they've had in some of these years that you really feel confident in. And so I think that's going to be fine. And I think quarterback is a big plus for Arkansas if your guy stays healthy. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think he's got a lot better grasp of the offense after a year with Petrino. So, but again, I just think the early games are big for momentum and for fan momentum and keeping the fans with a good attitude, with a good frame of mind.
No, I think a lot of when it comes to Taylon Green, we look at second year with Bobby Petrino. He won't necessarily have early in the season that guy that he'll lock onto. At least we would hope that, because Andrew Armstrong's not there. But doesn't this all have to do with, mechanics for him are one aspect of it, but you got to have time to throw, and you got to have time where you got to have trust in those who are blocking you. And I don't think he did last year. And I think that there was evidence why. Isn't all of this just basically connected to the newly built offensive line? If they're opening up enough holes for Braylon Russell and Mike Washington, and they're protecting Green enough, he won't lock in on one receiver. They'll use the middle of the field a little bit more. He'll hold on to the ball more because they won't be dragging him down from behind.
Yeah, and I think that, last year he did take off early at sometimes because of what you're talking about partly. But, yeah, I mean, if he's got confidence in those guys, you may see him wait to count longer and find second, third receivers at some point. I mean, that'd be the hope.
Yeah, we've entered into the new era too of college sports, Grant. Now July 2nd, it's day 2 of revenue share. It feels different though, with the again, my estimation was 18 employees subtracted from the staff in the athletic department last week if they're doing a 10% reduction. So I mean, right then and there tells you that it's a completely new era. And Grant, again, on my calculations, I think that what they were saving was the added money onto scholarships. So I think that money goes straight to education for the student athletes.
Yeah, it's a new world, and you've already seen. Like today, I saw that Nebraska, Omaha, and Montana have kind of. You're going to see more teams choosing not to spend the money, and actually, just because the $20.5 million is there doesn't mean that a lot of these teams are going to have or spend that much money. So. And I know, a lot of coaches would like to think that this is going to equalize things, but then you keep reading that the teams with or the schools with a lot of money or enough money are still going to find ways to get that money out there. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to see this thing unfold. But what are we, a couple of weeks from SEC Media Days, so it's, I guess, right around the corner.
Yeah. We're also a little more than a month. You might have seen this. Hot Springs Baseball Weekend was released for August 8th and 9th. It's the 8th year in a row that the Spa City holds this fantastic event. Of course, that's where spring training started. Did you see who's going to be there? Fergie Jenkins, Johnny Bench, Al Raboski has been there every year, Steve Garvey, and Brett Saberhagen. So do you go to this event?
I do not. Of that group you just mentioned, I've met Raboski, really nice guy, but that's the only one of those I know. So, that sounds like. Actually, I did meet Bench once. Bench was playing golf at Pebble Beach in the old Crosby, as they called it back then. I watched him play a hole of golf, so I don't know if that counts, but that sounds like a good group for Hot Springs.
I think it'd be great. I'm planning on going, so. If I see you there, we'll share a Mountain Valley. Well, we won't share one. We'll have our own bottle of Mountain Valley water. How's that sound?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, excuse me, Phil. I was thinking about Jim Neal because I wanted to mention this. Jim Neal, a longtime friend of mine, died at age 77 last Saturday. And there's kind of a service tonight at Larry Walker's farm in Prairie Grove. And I've talked to all kinds of people Jim played a lot of golf at Paradise Valley back in the day. And then more recently, back when Valley View in Farmington was open, we had some great matches out there with Larry Robbins and Alan Holland and Warren Adcock and others. And I know that Bill Agler and Ed Smithson and Dwight Tucker and I saw Benny Holzclaw yesterday, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And he and Jim were great four-ball partners for a long time at Paradise Valley. But more importantly, he's just a great guy, really loyal to all of his friends, good friend of mine. So I know I'm going to see a lot of those friends tonight at Prairie Grove.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. And with baseball in full swing and football season right around the corner, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From MLB, UFC to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. BetOnline. The game starts here.